Ladies and gentlemen, this is another episode of Straight from the Block. This is the recap of football Sunday and Monday. Time of the show. I'm your host, Deplano. Today we got a return of my man Haitian Ferg and my regular co-host. Talk to him.
You already know, man. It's Mr. Martin, a.k.a. Asher Martin. We out here straight from the Blizzy. We outside. BX, you heard?
Yes. So let's get right into it and recap this Sunday because we made picks. I posted picks. Kay, I was a little disappointed in you because you ended up 9-5. You ended up 9-5, but you did not pick the Giant game. So I felt like if you picked the Giant game, that was gonna hurt your record.
So you can just say I finished 9-6 because I picked the Giants game because I'm a real Giants fan. So you can say I went 9-6.
I figured you would, but I can't count something that ain't on the record, brother. So I ain't gonna give you that. I can't give you that. I assumed you was gonna. The same reason why you picked the Patriots. It's the same reason why I could assume you would have picked the Giants.
There you go. Big Blue NFC all day. NFC East. I live that all day. I breathe that 365. It's just not football season. This is who I am. I don't draft anybody on my fantasy football teams that's from the NFC East if they don't wear big blue colors. That's it.
I'm with you on that.
I would never ever draft Jalen Hurts. I would never draft a Redskin. I would never ever draft a fucking cowgirl on my personal fantasy football teams because I am me 365. That's just who I am.
I'm with you.
Okay. So look, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna have a quick recap of football Sunday while talking about our picks. And then I'll ask y'all some questions and y'all shoot off the hip. Let me know how y'all feel about what I want to address. First, the earliest game that was international that was in London, Jacksonville 23-7 over Atlanta. Now, the only guy that picked Atlanta was Ferg. I thought it was going to be a clean sweep that we all picked Jacksonville, but Ferg was the only one that picked Atlanta, and that was one of his L's. It was an easy pick. The two easy picks he had, he decided to go against the grain.
Wait. If I went 9-6, what did y'all go?
No, I went 7-8. I was horrible. I'm in the red. You went. You and Ferg had the same record.
All right.
You and Ferg both went 9-6.
I mean, that's not bad. I'll take it.
Yeah. Listen. If people's looking for y'all for picks on just straight money line wins, y'all good money. Y'all gonna win somebody some money. All right. So Kay was the only one that picked Miami for the Miami-Buffalo game, and Buffalo spanked them 48-20. Mm-hmm. He thought Miami would come out and try to get a revenge in that game, but that didn't work out. Denver squeaked out a win versus Chicago, 31-28. Ferg also picked that team, but me and Kay was on the same wavelength. We knew Denver was gonna pull that one out. I think, this is the one time Ferg is the outlier. Ferg picked Baltimore to beat Cleveland. Me and Kay both thought Cleveland would win that Baltimore game.
But in our defense, Deshaun Watson ain't playing.
Yes, that's true. That's true. Right. We did not. I didn't know that he wasn't going to play. Obviously, something happened last minute or whatever. He was not on the injury. He was questionable. He wasn't doubtful or nothing like that. It was questionable, so he didn't play, and that makes a big difference. We all picked Pittsburgh to beat Houston, and we all fell miserably on that because they didn't even score a touchdown. And CJ Stroud is on fire. That's all I'm gonna say about that man.
I tried to pick up Stroud in my fantasy. I can't now. Waiver wire, everybody. I'm not gonna get him.
CJ Stroud is on fire. Best rookie start since Cam Newton and what's the guy, Indianapolis Colts? quarterback.
Luck, Andrew
Andrew Luck?
Luck.
Andrew Luck. Yeah, those are the top three quarterbacks. With the only difference between Stroud and those two is that they threw interceptions. Stroud has not thrown not one interception, not
Good
one.
Wow.
info. Good info. I appreciate that info. Great
Yes,
stat.
yes. I'm not. I'm doing some of my research, Kay. I'm doing my research, bro. Try to
Appreciate
make
it.
you proud, man. I gotta try to make you proud.
Appreciate it.
Um, Ferg was the only one I think picked Carolina. We all picked, me and Kay picked Minnesota. So Ferg, that's one of Ferg's L's. I think we both. I picked the Colts. You only one that picked the Rams, Kay. Kay picked the Rams. Mr. Martin did pick the Rams to squeak out that win. He said it was going to be much closer than we think it is going to be. And you were correct. Mm-hmm. You was correct on your football acumen. We all picked Tampa Bay to beat New Orleans, 26-9. Yeah. So Tampa Bay and Baker Mayfield did what he had to do. Philly squeaked out a win versus Washington. The reason why I lost that bet, Ferg was the only one picked Washington. I don't know what the hell he's thinking about that, but he said he wasn't impressed by Jalen Hurts. That's what it was.
It wasn't that bad of a pick. They needed overtime to win.
That's true.
They needed overtime to win. It wasn't that bad of a pick. I'm telling you right now, Philly's lucky to be 4-0. They should be 2-2.
I agree. But I thought it was an easy decision. I picked them. The reason why I lost that, because I picked them to win by at least a touchdown. So that didn't work out. Cincinnati versus the Tennessee Titans. Titans 27-3. Kay thought Burrow would step up. And that was just I want to stop right there for this game real quick, because what's going on with Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals has to be, we have to shine some light on this a little bit. It's getting out of hand. And Jamar Chase is extremely frustrated because even in FanDuel, I picked Jamar Chase to score an anytime touchdown because he was overdue. This man is not scoring the touchdown, and it doesn't even make any sense at this point. With the weapons that Burrow got, I don't understand why he's struggling to throw a freaking touchdown. This doesn't make any sense to me. What are your thoughts on this?
I mean, I'll go first.
Go ahead.
So I was all on Cincinnati's bandwagon to win this game by a lot, because I thought they found their rhythm and they found their offensive flow versus the Rams on Monday night. And then it was going to be a short turnaround, so they was going to keep that going. Cincinnati Bengals has started 0-2 4 out of the last 5 years. You know what I'm saying? So they're a team that I'm used to seeing bounce back from slow starts and get it going. So when I saw that Jamar Chase had about 11 receptions for 139 yards the last game, I thought that, okay, they got their rhythm back. They're back on track and they have their rhythm. Chase was unguardable. He was open all game, and Burrow found him repeatedly for over 13 receptions, I believe. You know what I'm saying? But then you come back to a game by the Titans defense, and they forgot how to play football again. I don't know. I really don't know. But Burrow is not looking like Captain Burrow. He's not looking like the Dan Marino duplicate that I'm used to him being. So I lost that bet, and I'm still confused on how I lost that bet. That's my take.
What you got for me, Ferg?
It's tough to tell, because all throughout the time that Burrow was kind of, doing this thing when they went to the Super Bowl and all that stuff, they never really had a good offensive line. And it almost looks like it's not even the offensive line right now. They just look like a team that's just out of sync. You know how, like, for example, sometimes it looks like Burrow's on a 7-step drop and the receivers they're on the 5-step. Like, some of it just doesn't look right. And it's very shocking. I can tell you right now, I have Burrow as one of my starting QBs in fantasy, and it's extremely disappointing. I still think they can fix it. I don't know. Talk about a team falling off a cliff that you did not see coming. I can't put my finger on it because they don't run the ball well. They don't pass the ball well. So what exactly are you doing on offense? It doesn't make sense. None of it makes sense. And I don't even think it's the play calling either. They're not even executing. So it doesn't look good. Doesn't look good for me. I don't know what they got to do to fix it because usually, like with certain teams, you could point out different things that you see that okay, if you do this with them, everything's off. Everything's off. And like Kay said, the last game kind of gave you some hope that maybe they were going to turn the corner, and then here we are back to the same old, same old. So it's kind of tough. I'm with Kay. I don't really know how you fix it.
I think the
Now,
reality is when a player is so good.
Wait, D. I'll give you one more thing. I'll give you one more thing to throw inside your analysis. Is that this year, just to add on to what Ferg just said, is that this year the Bengals actually spent money on their offensive line. What they went into this offseason doing this year was supposedly they have the best offensive line that they've ever had in front of Burrow and Mixon. So when he says they can't run the ball, this is true because Mixon, you know what I'm saying? We all know Joe Mixon. But they supposedly have the best offensive line because they signed the best left tackle in football in Orlando Brown, who was just protecting Patrick Mahomes the last year and a half. You know what I'm saying? So they signed him and they signed another dude to shore up to, in quote, air quotations, to finally shore up their old line. But it doesn't seem to make a difference. And like Ferg said, it just seems discombobulated and is more of a conundrum. That's what makes their team more of a conundrum because it's like, wait, y'all finally got an O-line.
Word.
Y'all finally got an O-line. So I don't
that's
even
all
understand.
they didn't have.
I don't even understand. But hey, go ahead, D. My bad. Go ahead, D.
Yeah, no, it's fine because my analysis is gonna be quick and easy. I think when you're that good, when you're as good as Joe Burrow, whatever the issues are, they won't be long lasting. So I'm a firm believer that he's gonna get it together. I just hope he doesn't get it together too late for the team because that team goes as far as Burrow goes. And they have too many weapons to be this horrible on offense. So eventually I think they'll get it together. It's just a matter of time or how long it's going to take before that actually happens. Moving on to the Chargers and Vegas. I picked the Chargers. No. Kate picked the Chargers. So did you, Ferg. I picked Vegas. I don't know why I picked Vegas. I know Ferg said he didn't believe in what Josh McDaniels is doing over there. That's why he went against Vegas. But I forgot. I don't know why did I pick Las Vegas. I don't know what the hell was on my mind. But Dallas 38-3 versus New England. Kay only out of his bias is the only reason why he picked New England. That was a clear. it was bias and bias alone. You know, and he stands 10 toes down on his bias, ladies and gentlemen. Okay.
He took a bye on that one.
Yeah.
My beliefs are what they are. I'm a simple man. Keep it moving.
All right. Now let's talk about what needs to be talked about and praise given to who is clearly the best running back in the NFL right now. 35-16, San Francisco over the Arizona Cardinals. Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah.
Not one, not two, not three, but 4 TDs in this game. Let me tell you how I know the NFL bets. Let me tell you how I know they bet. They bet on sports. I decided to try to put a FanDuel bet in where I'm going to pick 3 players to score 2 TDs in a game. Now, I picked Amari Cooper. I picked Jamar Chase, and I picked Justin Jefferson, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then I say, you know what, Darnay, maybe you should find a running back. This is one of these running backs gonna score 2 TDs. And I went to Christian McCaffrey because he scored a TD in every one of his games. When I went to go to Christian McCaffrey to pick him for 2 touchdown scores, they had him at negative 260. You could imagine what they had. Everyone else was in the plus category to
Wow.
possibly score 2 TDs.
Wow.
For him to score 4, because you have to be out your mind to score to pick any player to score 4 touchdowns in the game. And this man did exactly that. Let's see, stat line. He had 20 carries for 106 yards and 3 TDs. And then I guess one was for a passing TD. This guy is amazing. I was watching Barry Sanders highlights earlier today, and he's not Barry Sanders. I'm not trying to make no comparisons. I'm just saying he's amazing. He's Showtime, and San Francisco is beyond lucky to have that man. Which I just want to put some respect on Christian McCaffrey's name and give him a quick shout out.
Listen,
That
he is what Le'Veon Bell could have been had he stayed in Pittsburgh. Because Le'Veon was doing just that. Where you get into the red zone, you're not just worried about Roethlisberger. You were also worried about Le'Veon as well. It was like having an extra receiver out there. And with McCaffrey, he's such a Swiss Army knife. You could do anything you want on all. It's like there's no defense for it. And they got the offensive line to block for him. Listen, 49ers going to the Super Bowl, man. They're going.
What you think, Kay?
So my thing is, right, normally when you name the top backs in the NFL, they're all on bad teams. Like the top running backs don't get a chance to play with a stacked deck because you have to be bad to get the best running backs, the top value running backs. So last season, when the San Francisco 49ers made that trade to get McCaffrey, it's like, wow, the team that actually has a stacked lineup actually made a trade for the best running back in football. So now he gets to showcase how good he really fucking is.
Yeah.
But if you're a football fan and you was watching the Carolina Panthers just because they're one of 32 teams and they play every Sunday, you already knew that this man was that dude. Like, it's a reason why he was the top paid running back for the past 3-4 years in the NFL. The only running back that gets paid $15 million per season is CMC. You know what I'm saying? So I'm kind of not surprised about what he does. I'm just happy that we get to see what a good running back can do when he gets to play with a stacked lineup. Just for all the other running backs that doesn't get that opportunity, you know what I'm saying, to play with a team as stacked as the 49ers, from O-line to D-line to receivers to everything, to coach, to everything that highlights him. All his abilities in the passing game, the running game. He's amazing, but he's been amazing for me. For a dude who's been watching him since Carolina, he's been amazing. On the Panthers, he got them 3 wins a season when he was the best and only player on their team. So when you put him on the 49ers, it's like, this is kind of what we expect.
You know what? So I'm gonna harp on a word that you use. You use stacked, right? And I know the 49ers is a complete team, but I never looked at them as stacked because their receiving core doesn't scare anybody. Debo's another Swiss Army knife, right? As McCaffrey, and then after that, it's Kittle at the tight end, which is he's a very solid tight end, and then you got a Juke. I don't want to mess up his name, but
I think Ayuk.
stop you
Oh,
right
you
there. Wait. No. I will stop you right there because that's where you got it wrong, and that's where your perception is off. When you say that George Kittle is an average tight end, your perception is off.
I
The
didn't say
only
average. I said he's. I didn't say
He
he's
said
no,
average.
no. He said he was solid.
you said average, maybe above average. The
No, no,
only
no.
tight end
He
that's
said he
better
was
than George
solid.
Kittle and more consistent than George Kittle is Kelsey from the Chiefs.
Okay.
Mark Andrews is more receptions because of the Baltimore Ravens system, and he was the best receiving option for Lamar Jackson for a number of seasons. This is the first season where Lamar actually has receivers that scare you more than Mark Andrews. You understand? But
Mm.
George Kittle and Kelsey are the two tight ends that have yak built into their game. They scare you because they can take a 5-yard route and turn that into 40 and 50 on a regular basis. And from a
Yeah.
tight end position, that scares everybody because what they do once they catch the ball cannot be accounted for. Yak is very important. And Debo, you call him a Swiss Army knife, but not everybody has a knife as sharp as Debo Samuel. A lot of people got Swiss Army knives, but not the one that's made by like Louis Vuitton or YSL. You know what I'm saying?
This
You
nigga
want
said
a
Louis
YSL
Vuitton.
Swiss Army knife if you're going to talk about
Nigga
Swiss Army
said
knife.
Louis
The
Vuitton.
average nigga got the one off the train for $5 to $10. You know what I'm talking about? The average team got them, but they
You
got
want
the Swiss
Listen,
Army knife that was made by the finest of finest craftsmen. When you talk about Debo fucking Samuel, because
what?
he's
listen.
a
You
problem,
you
a
know
real
you know. Listen, you could tell me better than you could tell me better than what your eyes are seeing, right? How about that? I'm a reverse. I'm gonna go to your expertise, both of you guys, because you guys watch, right? I know what I've seen stat wise from Kittle over the years. What I'm seeing, what I am seeing now, and I know he's still one of the best tight ends in the league. I don't see the Kittle of the past. He had one reception in this game. Now, part
Here's
of it
what.
has to do with the weapons that's available to San Francisco and not overusing him. I understand that. I still would expect him to have more than one reception. No
I'm
matter
sorry.
no matter no matter the
No, no,
game, no
no, no,
matter the
no,
game.
no, 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 no. That is the CMC effect.
Right.
That is why CMC is the best running back in football because he's
Because you're
such a
gonna be
great
leaving him in the
receiver.
block. Mm-hmm.
No. He's such a great receiver out the backfield. He's a cheat code. He's the
Hmm.
closest to Marshall Faulk that we've seen since Marshall Faulk. Because at the receiving end, he's going to take receptions away from George Kittle and Debo Samuel. The
Hmm.
only person who's still going to get as many targets is the Brandon Ayuk because he's the pure outside number one receiver.
Hmm.
So Shanahan, who is the offensive guru, has to draw up plays for that number one outside receiver to keep his advantage with the tight end and the running back. You ain't gonna respect them as much if you ain't got an outside receiver who scares the shit out of you. You know what I'm saying?
Let me
So
I
tell
can
you.
feel that.
Let me tell you something else too. To piggyback off of what Kay said, because San Francisco doesn't necessarily have, you know, a Patrick Mahomes or Lamar Jackson, for example, they have a very competent quarterback. They have the type of weapons around this quarterback to keep him out of trouble. And getting the ball to the tight end is much more difficult than getting the ball to a CMC. There's a lot more flexibility that you can do with your plays when you have a CMC. So it's crazy. I think the thing that we should be saying is don't let San Francisco get an actual QB. Then they're fucking unstoppable. Imagine if they have a stand in the pocket, laser throwing QB. Like I'm telling you right now, CMC makes everything work for them. Um, but it's not that Kittle is less than what he was. They just don't need him as much right now. but he's still blocking. He's still out there being a decoy. A lot of times they do block and release with him, where
Mhm.
he draws attention, creating lanes for CMC, creating lanes for IU. So Shanahan's using him perfectly. Um, and you never know. Come playoff time, what's going to happen is there's going to be that one coach that figures it out defensively, and then that's going to be the game Kittle goes off. That's going to be the game Kittle goes off because then they're going to be like, oh, okay, fine,
Yo,
no problem.
I was
We'll
just
just
gonna
throw it to
say,
Kittle.
I was gonna say, like he's gonna have his game where he has 3 touchdowns and
Yeah,
148 yards and like 70 yak yards. I'm telling you,
yeah.
they're like there's gonna be the games where it's Kittle for 9 catches, 160 and 2 touchdowns.
Mm-hmm,
Like those games are
mm-hmm.
coming. That's why
Yeah,
they're so scary because you can't focus on one weapon because the others will kill you.
and it's early. It's early in the season now. So it makes sense that the running back he's off and running. But like I said, once defenses start tuning up, it's gonna open up the field for Kittle, and then you're gonna see a lot more Debo as well. Trust me, they got another level to their offense that we haven't seen yet. That's what makes them so scary.
I agree. I agree. It's just a matter of time before we see more Kittle. I knew
Yeah,
that a CMC does affect his touches, but I just besides Kelsey, the tight ends, I just noticed a trend with tight ends as of late, where the decrease of the tight ends role or effectiveness diminishes fast. Because there was a time we had good 5 or 6 tight ends in the league that we could
mm-hmm.
draft fantasy wise. I mean, Kay, you remember those days, man, where it was the Jimmy Grahams. There was like it was so many tight ends in the league all
Remember
at the
Dallas
same
Clark?
time. Yeah, like you didn't have a hard time drafting a tight end that was going
Mm-hmm.
to get you some numbers. Now it's like you said, it was a 2-man race, 3 or 4 if you want to add Waller last season, and then you want to add Mark Andrews, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
a 4 tight end race. Like you get one of those guys, and then that's it.
Yeah,
So I
Everything else is a prayer.
exactly. So
Week to week is a prayer.
it's weird that how quick we see the diminish of the tight end lately, and that's what I thought I might be seeing with Kittle, but I may be wrong. So we'll give it some more time to see. Let's talk about Crow, since that's what Ferg says he wants to refer to it as. He wants to
yeah,
eat
man.
crow.
Yeah.
Um, you may want to eat crow. I don't know if you want to eat crow on this subject, okay? But what we'll do is we'll talk about KC beating the Jets only by 3 points, but we had a really great, really good performance from Zach Wilson.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we don't have to spend time on the performance, but I would like to say, would like to ask this question. Does this performance give you hope that he can produce with the much needed wins that the Jets need going the rest of the way for this season? And that's the question I have for you two fellas.
Um, I'll tell you right now, emotionally, while watching the game, it just made me upset. And I'm like, who was holding him back? Was it him? Was it the offensive coordinator? Was it the coaching? Why weren't they letting him throw the ball? Watching him make the throws he made, I mean, yo, and hearing that Aaron Rodgers is ahead of schedule and wants to come back this year, hell yeah, I got hope. Uh, that being that being said, I mean, I called the man out his face last week, so I gotta apologize. I called him a bitch last week, so now I'm a bitch for calling him a bitch.
wait. I don't think you're the only one that called him a bitch, but
Oh no, I'm saying I gotta own up my part because
Okay.
when I was watching it, when I was watching my dude fling back shoulder passes in the midfield, I'm like, damn, I got to get on this show next week. Win or lose, I got to get on this show. and eat. But I was so happy to do it because you finally saw the arm talent that he has. And for the first time, like we talked about last week, okay, 2.5 seconds, 3 seconds, ball's out. The ball's out. He's not reading his fourth progression with 5 seconds to go. 5 seconds in the pocket. So if it's like this, where it's 1-2, throw the ball, everything changes. So yeah, I have hope. I hope. And sorry to Zach, I'm a bitch.
So, so for me, right? For somebody who didn't watch the game, like Ferg, because I'm not a Jets fan and I work on Sundays, right? Um, but who's a huge A-Rod fan, as we all know. I'm gonna say that A-Rod being on the sideline and A-Rod being a coach off the field and on the field helped out. Because I'm going to say what you just said, Ferg. I've seen that happen with Daniel Jones last season once Brian DeBall got there and finally gave him a system that works for him. All right, we don't have a great offensive line, so we're just going to get the ball out in under 2 seconds. We're going to design routes and design plays that makes it easy for you to get the ball to people, maybe for 3 yards, maybe for 4 yards. It's an extension of a run play, but if a tackle is missed, it could go for more, you know?
Facts.
But we're gonna design plays to make you look good because it takes the thinking off of your shoulders because it's quick hit, 1, 2, 3. You know what I'm saying? And we got good receivers and playmakers. So I'm gonna say A-Rod made a difference in that game. And going forward, hopefully he continues. You know what I'm saying? I don't think he's going to play this season. And if the Jets are smart, he doesn't. But if they got a chance to make the playoffs later on down the line, week 12 or 15, and they got a chance to make the playoffs, and A-Rod is iffy, that motherfucker's coming in. No matter what I feel or how you know what I'm saying, he is coming in.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I'll just say, hey, for as far as that last game, it's about time, and we'll see where they go from here. But A-Rod
I
makes
agree
a
with
difference
you.
on the sideline.
So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna switch from one New York quarterback to the other because I really want to know if that was the solution for Zach Wilson, the mentorship on the sideline. What needs to happen for Daniel Jones to play better for the New York Football Giants? Well, of course you got to answer that. Well, you don't raise your hand. Of course, you know I'm asking you, Negro. Speak.
I thought you wanted to get Ferg's opinion first. Ferg, if you want to go first unbiasedly, you can go ahead, Ferg.
Man, I wasn't
The
even going to
Jets
unmute
topics.
myself. I wasn't even going to unmute. I was going to let you have that one.
The Jet topic is for the Jet fan, and the Giant topic for the Giant fan.
I tell you one thing. He almost got hit with that tablet that Dabo threw.
So I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna stick to what I've been saying. Football is a basic sport. It doesn't take rocket science. It's not crazy. It comes down to two things. Can you run the ball and can you stop the run? And what that means in simple math is, do you have a good offensive line and do you have a good defensive line that is going to give you that opportunity to run and stop the run? And the answer for the New York fucking football Giants is hell fucking no, we do not. So I don't put the blame on Daniel Jones. On the first blame, on the first drive, so first of all, the Giants went into that game with their best offensive lineman injured. And then on the first series, they second and third best offensive lineman got hurt. That's their center.
Okay, back up just a little bit because you're flashing in and out. There we go.
That was their center, the rookie center, and the tight end Bellinger. Their backups are suck. Like our starting offensive line isn't good. Our starting offensive line is below average. That's with all the starters. If you put Andrew Thomas, Evan Neal, Glanowski, the Bredson dude, and John Michael, the rookie, if you put all 5 starters for the New York Giants, we're below average. We're below average when it comes to a starting offensive line. So when you got 3 of them niggas out, and it's the 3 best niggas on that line that's out, Daniel Jones, that is not a fair evaluation of a quarterback. Because if you're a football fan, you've seen that there's no quarterback that could have made plays in 1.5 or 5 or 0.5 seconds. As soon as the ball was snapped, there was not 1, not 2, but 3 niggas that was hounding him immediately. If we handed the ball off to a running back, the running back got to the line of scrimmage, and like I said, once again, there was 3 or 4 niggas waiting for him. So this shows you why Saquon Barkley is so important to what the Giants do. Because Saquon Barkley is an above average running back. Daniel Jones is an average, borderline above average quarterback. If he ain't got an O-line or something else that, brings him over that, he ain't gonna do it all by himself. He needs Saquon, and that's why the record shows that when he plays with Saquon, he's much fucking better. Why? Because Saquon Barkley is not your average running back. He's a nigga who's gonna make an average or below average offensive line look better because he's gonna miss a tackle. He's gonna break a tackle. He's gonna make the first 2 niggas miss. It is what it is.
Let me ask you a follow-up to that. Because everything that you said about what happened, that was solid. My issue is this. They addressed the offensive line. They didn't address it as well as they possibly could. But when you look at the amount of money they have tied in to both Daniel Jones and Saquon, you almost have to ask yourself, was this the Giants retooling when they should have been rebuilding? Because that's a lot of money tied into those guys. And when you think about it, the Giants aren't a Saquon away, where you see how CMC makes a difference for the 49ers. Saquon wanted CMC money. And when you think about it, right, they don't have the offensive line to maximize a Saquon. They don't have the offensive line to maximize a Daniel Jones. And for me, looking on the outside, for me, this was the Giants' opportunity. They should have traded Daniel Jones, and they also could have traded Saquon Barkley, or don't re-sign him, because it would have put them in a situation to properly build that offensive line. Because I'm telling you right now, Saquon's hurt, but with that offensive line, he can get hurt again. And if he gets hurt again, then what? Then is Daniel running for his life again, and it doesn't bode well. You can't have your entire offense be so dependent on the running back, where if he goes down, all else fails. That's the issue that I have with the Giants. And mind you, Daboll is an offensive genius. You saw what he did with Josh Allen in Buffalo. I just don't know that the Giants have the offensive line to keep it up. That's my main concern with that.
Here's my retort to that, right? We don't have a Brian DeBall issue. The linemen that we have are they just suck. So we've done a bad job at evaluating the linemen that we've been drafting, because we drafted the most offensive linemen in the first 3 rounds in the past 4 seasons. I'm going to say that one more again. We have drafted the most offensive linemen in the first 3 rounds of the NFL draft in the last 4 years that the NFL has been drafting. So it's not the fact that we have been delusional and not trying to get this problem solved, is that we've done a bad job at evaluating the people that we've been drafting. Because the only ones that's kind of worth money right now is the Andrew Thomas, and so far this rookie that we just drafted this year. The
Yeah.
rest of these niggas get them the fuck out of here, you heard? And then waste the fucking money.
I
Well,
hear that.
I would like to. I'm a jump on.
But wait. I want everybody to remember what Daniel Jones, Saquon Barkley, no Darren Waller, no Paris Campbell, and not a huge difference. The only person that's really different in our offensive line from this year and last year is our rookie center. And last season, this same O-line and this same quarterback was able to overachieve and get us past the Vikings in the first round of the playoff and into divisional round. That's not 5 years ago. That's a few months ago. I want to keep that in mind. Like when we talk about when we evaluate Daniel Jones and what he can and hasn't done, you know what I'm saying? With a Saquon Barkley and the same O-line in the playoffs, he was damn near the best quarterback that played that week in the playoffs because he had over 300 yards quarterback rating. He had the rushing yards, no mistakes in Minnesota on the road.
That's
Okay,
true.
so now that you finished trying to, defend the Daniel Jones frame, uh, this is my thoughts on the situation. I think you make a point, Ferg, right? I was upset that they were spending so much that they took care of Daniel Jones before Saquon. I thought they should have let Daniel Jones go and they should have got a different quarterback. However, they chose to do otherwise. And for all the Giant fans who are supporters of Daniel Jones, he's not a total bum or scrub or nothing like that. But I didn't think he was the guy, knowing what the issues that we have, that he was going to be able to overcome them solely with his skill set. And what I mean by that is, Kay, we just was talking about earlier about Joe Burrow and the offensive line, right? Now we know Daniel Jones is not Joe Burrow. We know that. But when you're good enough, even with a bad offensive line, you can find ways to be effective. And even though they allegedly addressed the O line this season and it hasn't worked out for the Bengals, I expect the skill to overcome the deficiencies of the offensive line. Where I want to shine light on something that I read and I saw a video in regards to this as well. Kay, is that offensive linemen in college have been being taken at a high rate, but they haven't transitioned well to the professional game. So it's not just a Giant thing in regards to picking offensive linemen and guys not actually doing well once they get to the NFL. For whatever reason, and I didn't get to the bottom of that yet, it's not transitioning well. However good they are in college, whatever division they play for, I don't care if it's Division I or Division II. For whatever reason, they get to the NFL and it's not transitioning well, and that's why you only have 1 to 3 good ones that come out of the draft that's recognizable.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not that alarming to me. You got kids that's going against grown ass men that's been in the weight room way too fucking long, and this is their job. Is to beat you. And when you try to put them hands up, my arms, the reason why I spend this much time in the weight room is to smack your arms down and get right past your punk ass and get to that fucking quarterback.
And
Straight up.
look,
In
K's
college,
not. Yeah.
you're going against kids your age. When you go to the pros, it's grown ass men that's trying to feed their kids. And you
Mm-hmm.
see the biggest deficiency right away on that D line and on that O line. Because these men are big and they're fast as fuck. We
Mm-hmm.
proved this last season when we spoke about the dude that the Eagles drafted who was like 6'7" and over 300 pounds and ran a fucking under a 4.4. You know what I'm saying? But the D linemen right now are so big and so fast And if they have any type of technique and skill, they're just punishing these fucking rookie offensive linemen straight up. So it's not that mind-boggling to me. It's grown-ass men versus little kids, and this is one area in the trenches where you see it.
Look,
Well, go ahead,
I
Frank.
could
Go ahead.
add, I could add to that. Now, he has been injured these past couple seasons, but when the Jets drafted Mekhi Becton, when I was watching Mekhi Becton's college tape, I mean, he was throwing it around dudes like rag dolls in college. And since he's been on the Jets, he's been switched from left tackle, right tackle, then back to left. It's like it's crazy. These guys are dominating in college. They really are. But like Kay said, when they come to the NFL, they're facing grown men, and for some reason they're not adjusting well. Now, I don't know um if it's the blitzes that are getting more exotic, because think about it. These guys, a lot of them aren't even holding up when they're just rushing four or they're rushing five and they still can't hold. You know what I mean? So imagine you're Daniel Jones, right? And they're rushing five at you and no one's open. I mean, a lot of the picks he threw, it wasn't really his fault. What do you want the guy to do? He's got the coverage figured out. He's got the bodies in the box. They're not even rushing. They're not even blitzing, and they're getting to him. So, it's one of those things. Like Kay said, I don't know that they fix that anytime soon because the D linemen are only getting better. They're only getting better.
I know what I noticed. What I noticed is that guys, I respect Kay's point of view for the rookie standpoint, but there's guys that have been in the league 3-4 years who coming out of college was supposed to be something special. And they get the
Mm-hmm.
best offensive line coaches. They get all these things to work with these guys, and they're just not progressing. They're just not getting better. And a lot of these offensive linemen are huge. So that's another thing. Coming even in college, these guys are big. There are 6'5", 6 something or whatever. You get what I'm saying? They are these
Mm-hmm.
big, tall guys, 300 pounds, athletic. So they have what they need, but for whatever reason, is I don't have the answer. I'm not gonna pretend I have the answer. I just know I know what I've seen. What I would say is this: is that Daniel Jones, which it was mind-boggling to me. This is not is that with all these deficiencies, you can't tell me that going out and getting a number one receiver wouldn't have helped with this. So it's very curious to me why they didn't even attempt to go after DeAndre Hopkins when he was available. Um, I think that's the type of move that could have helped
Mm-hmm.
because you made a point, Ferg. If nobody's open, if nobody could create separation or command a double team, which could help the rest of the receivers, you know, the tight end Waller was not going to be enough. That was our signing.
Mm-hmm.
That was our guy that we signed, but that was not going to be enough. We needed something a bigger target, someone with speed, a
Yeah,
veteran.
but
I think that would have helped. That's just my opinion. I
but
could
see,
be wrong.
this is where you now have to ask yourself that question. If you look at the way their salary is structured, who do you think got paid that wide receiver one money? That money's sitting somewhere between Daniel Jones and Saquon Barkley.
I don't think so. I think we still have money. We had money to still get somebody.
So, because here's the thing: if you're gonna bring somebody in, you gotta take somebody out. And my thing is, would you have preferred that they go with an average tight end and then go after Hopkins instead of Waller?
Yes, I would have, but I think Dabo, and I'm not going to question him. I'm
Mm-hmm.
just going to try to get in his brain for a second. I
Mm-hmm.
think based on how the offense is set up, where Daniel Jones would be scrambling out the pocket or running
Mm-hmm.
on a regular basis, the tight end was the ideal
Mm-hmm.
place to go, especially when you got guys like Saquon. So I understood it made sense. but they needed to find a way to figure out that receiver position as well. That needed to be addressed. I don't know how you do the money, what you didn't spend money on, whatever. I was just surprised when the option became available that they
That they
didn't
didn't make
jump
the
on it
move.
because
I agree with you.
just like Saquon helps Daniel Jones,
Mm-hmm.
when nothing helps a quarterback better than having a really good number one.
Sure. Especially with a guy like Hopkins who has the catching radius that he has and the route running ability. You're absolutely right. Um, it's just I don't know. Sometimes these teams do things that don't make sense, or at least for them it made sense in the moment. And who knows? Maybe they also thought their offensive line was going to be better. It's a possibility because they, like Kay said, they did invest into the offensive line. So maybe
Think of,
they over evaluated, like
but
Kay said.
think about how if the offensive line was still better, if you're not
Mm-hmm.
getting separation and your receivers can't get open, you would still have a problem.
Well, see, here's the thing.
So wait. I'll stop. Right. I don't want to get too much into it because I don't want to, like, just like how the last show I didn't want you guys to turn it into a Knicks podcast because I didn't want it to be unbiased. I don't want to turn this into a Giants podcast because I want to be unbiased the same way. But I
Yeah,
won't answer
yeah.
your questions. Okay. The Giants felt like they had their receiver position answered because they addressed it. They
Mm-hmm.
re-signed Darius Slayton. They brought
Mm-hmm.
in Paris Campbell. They signed a Jess Smith, who's a speedster. You know what I'm saying? They drafted a Jalen Hyatt in the third round out of Tennessee, who was the number one receiver in college last year because he got that award, the Bear Crawford Award, whatever it's called. You know what I'm saying? They traded for a Darren Waller. You know what I'm saying? So it was like we went from a team that had no receivers and had no threats at all to a
Right.
team that all of a sudden we traded for a Waller for pretty much Kadarius Toney. We got Toney for Waller. You know what I'm saying? We
That's an
got a
upgrade.
we got a Paris Campbell who's a fast motherfucker. We still drafted Wanda Robinson last year, who's come back this year. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
We signed the Jess Smith. So it's like I would have preferred us to have Hopkins as well. But I can understand where it's like, hey, from what we had last season and won the playoff game with, to the improvements we've made to the receivers right now, where we got everybody who we brought in right now runs under 4.4 in speed, and it's a speed league. You know what I'm saying? I felt like we was good too. But I would have preferred D Hopkins overall because D Hopkins is who he is. But like I said, I don't want to make this a Giants only thing. I want to move on to the next topic. So I don't want to get too deep. You know what I'm saying? But I'll just say that. To
So
what y'all.
what we'll do real quick, we'll do a blind reaction real quick, and then in case you guys step away from that camera a little bit, because you was all black that entire time you was saying what you was saying. you was completely
I got bitch ass niggas on the sideline. I got bitch ass haters on the sideline trying to intervene. You know what I'm talking about?
I know they on your back over there. I already know it's the
So like I
Cowboy
said, I'm
fans
on the
too.
pass on
I know
steps.
who
I
it
got
is.
haters. You know what I'm saying? Trying to be heard. I got
I
haters
know
trying
it's
to be heard. You know what I'm talking about?
I know it's the Cowboy fans, K. I already know where you at. You in hostile territory. I understand.
Oh boy.
So
Keep
this is what
reminding
we're
these
gonna
bitch ass niggas we beat the Cardinals though, but it's all right. It's okay.
They win in the Super Bowl now.
all right. So this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna do a blind reaction. Um, I want to make sure I got this correct before I put it out there. Boop, 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 boop. Yeah, I do. Okay. So last week we did running backs. I'm gonna do some wide receivers. And we're gonna do wide receivers. I'm not gonna throw three together. I'm gonna keep it at two. And I think I did a much better job this time around. I did some research. I didn't just pair it by looks and stuff like that. So we're gonna blind react the receiver real quick situation. Let's start with this one. I'm gonna start with something. Let's see. I think this is kind of light. let's see, is this like Andre Johnson? Okay. So Andre Johnson, right? Andre Johnson or Donald Driver?
I'm going
Andre
Andre.
Johnson.
Andre.
Y'all
Andre.
both
Yeah.
going Andre?
That's an easy
Okay.
one.
That
You
was an
know why?
easy one.
You know
Okay.
why? Donald Driver was more of a Brett Favre and system guy, where
Mm-hmm.
Andre Johnson was more of a physical specimen. He was
Mm-hmm.
more of those 6'2", I'm fast, I'm tall, and I'm a route
Mm-hmm.
runner, and I'm a problem. You can't guard me no matter who my quarterback is. Because Andre Johnson ain't have no quarterback. He played his
Facts.
entire career for the Houston Texans. So name his quarterback right now. We can't. But
Matt Shaw.
Donald Driver played with Brett Favre. So we
Yeah.
already that's Johnson all day.
Yeah, I
All
agree. Oh,
right.
and don't forget, he punched Cortland Finnegan. He wins.
All right, let's do another one. How about Sterling Sharp or Anquan Bolden?
You know what's funny?
If I got K tilted his head, I know that was a good one. That means I came up with a decent one. If I got K over there, he's scratching, he's trying to figure that one out.
You know what? You know what? You know what? Sterling Sharp. Sterling Sharp.
I'm an Anquan Bolden fan, so it's hard for me. I like first of all, I'm a Sterling Sharp and Anquan Bolden fan,
Mm-hmm.
but
Mm-hmm.
I think I would take Anquan Bolden, me personally.
It's like my bad, but like for the same exact reasons, that's a good one. Because for the same reasons that I just said Andre Johnson is
Yeah.
the same exact reason I'm gonna go Anquan Bolden. Because Anquan Bolden was good with any single quarterback he played with. Unfortunately, because he was a physical specimen and he was a great route runner and he was good after the catch too. So in
Mm-hmm.
all three phases, he was elite. Sterling Shepard, we only got to see a short sample of him, and in that entire sample,
Not Shepard, Sharp, Sterling
Sharp.
Sharp.
Sharp. Shannon Sharp, brother.
Green
oh
Shannon
Bay
Sharp, brother.
Packers, Sterling Sharp.
yeah. He played with Brett Favre for like 4 seasons in Green Bay when Brett Favre
Yeah.
was bigger. His whole entire career was Brett Favre. He had a neck injury and got out the game early. He
Right.
only played like maybe 6 seasons total. He ain't have a long career because of his neck injury. But his entire career, he played with Brett Favre when Brett was slinging it, and that was his number one nigga. Anquan Bolden, we saw play with multiple quarterbacks, and he was that nigga. Multiple.
Let me make sure I clear up the same concept as the running back. We only talking about in their prime. We're
Mm-hmm.
only talking about in their prime. We don't have to
That's
include longevity because that's what we did with the running backs. All we talking about is in their prime.
Anquan Bolden.
And I'm taking
listen.
Anquan Bolden.
That's why I went with Sharp, because the other day I was watching Stephen A. and Shannon Sharp podcast. Shannon Sharp said, "Yo, my brother was better than me."
He was.
And yeah. It just so happened dude got hurt, but for the small snippet that we seen, oh, and mind you, I had to go back and watch tape because I was young then. You know, that guy was amazing. He was amazing. But yeah, you can't go wrong with Anquan either. Because you're right. Anquan did it in every team he went to, especially when he was with the Cardinals. He still did it. Yeah.
Okay, so let's see if you like this one. This matchup, I'm gonna give you the one that I thought was one of the toughest. All right, let's see. Steve Smith or Hines Ward?
Steve Smith. Steve Smith. Steve Smith for me.
I'm gonna go Steve Smith. I'm gonna say Steve Smith.
That's a tough one, D. I'm gonna tell you this right now. That's a tough one. That's the best one so far because they're so similar, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I gotta go Hines Ward because Hines Ward was easily the best blocking small receiver I've ever seen in my life. In my
Right.
life, in my entire life. When we talk about receivers that block downfield, that's not 6 foot, that's not 200 pounds. When we talk about receivers who's under 5'10", 5'10" and under, that played that position with heart, nothing but heart, I gotta go Hines Ward. Because the
So
way he blocked downfield for Jerome Bettis, for Le'Veon Bell, and for any running back that the Pittsburgh Steelers decided to hand the ball to while he was playing wide receiver, they changed the crack back rule because of Hines
because of
Ward.
him,
Hines
yeah.
Ward was cleaning up defensive ends and linebackers on a crack block so crazy that they had to change the rule because of him. If you don't know football, that means it was a blind side block.
Mm-hmm.
The
Mm-hmm.
wide receiver acts like he's going out to block a cornerback or safety, but actually turns around and unexpectedly blocks
Takes
a
out a
tight end
linebacker.
or linebacker who
Yeah.
thinks he's going to be blocked by the man in front of him. But unexpectedly, he gets hit by a nigga from his blind side. They had to stop that shit because of Hines fucking Ward at 5'10" because he was lining niggas to fuck up and ending careers. My bad,
You,
y'all.
no, no, no. That was great. Cause let me tell you something. I think that the reason why this is such a great comparison is because both of the guys in this category are legit dogs. Dogs on the field. You weren't gonna punk them. They out there to play ball, and if you push them, they're gonna push you back 2 times harder. This was honestly, and it's funny. I wasn't even thinking about the blocking when I answered, but you're right.
I wasn't
They
either.
literally,
I wasn't either.
no, they changed the rule because of Hines Ward. You're absolutely right. And when you think about it, Steve Smith still played in an era where they were still letting the DBs get away with a little bit more. And he was still physical. He could still come down with the catch, yards after catch, hard to tackle, and he wasn't
And
afraid
talk
to get
shit.
dirty.
And talk shit to you.
And,
And talk shit. And talk
you know
shit
what's
to
funny?
you throughout the whole
Yo,
fucking procedure.
the other day, I was watching YouTube and I seen he got hit in the head accidentally while on an NFL broadcast. He had a mic on and a suit. This nigga was ready to fight because somebody threw
Yeah,
the
he
ball.
was. He said,
yo,
he said, they better not hit me. Somebody about to get fucked up.
yo, he was gonna take his suit jacket off and get right back in there, son.
Absolutely.
Now you know
Absolutely.
what? That's a tough one. You know what? Now I don't know what to pick. Is it?
I'm
Can I drink
I'm
on
gonna
it?
stick to my no, it's supposed to be quick reaction. You gave your answer. You gave your answer. Ain't no reneging right now.
No, I'm
All
just
right?
gonna take a sip for no answer.
So the next one is Chris Carter or Marvin Harrison.
Oh,
That's easy for me. It's not as hard because it's blind reaction. Chris Carter. Chris Carter was the best receiver I seen for a long time before receivers made. Chris Carter was the best receiver in the game for me when it was the running back time in the NFL. When it was the time of running backs, when we had the great running backs, when we had the Barry
mhm.
Sanders, the Emmitt Smiths, when we had the great running backs, Chris Carter was the best receiver because he was getting 100 catches a season when niggas was getting 60 or 70. The next closest receiver was getting like 70 because it was the running back time. Chris Carter for me.
Would you say I agree with you with Chris Carter because you're right in the era that he played. Would you say that Marvin Harrison was just more a product of the system? And it's crazy that I'm saying that because I don't want to diminish.
That system at all. No credit to the system. All credit to the great Peyton Manning.
Well,
He
that's
played
what
with
I'm saying. But
Peyton.
see, I don't want to diminish him because Reggie Wayne was great too. But was that
And
Peyton
that's
Manning
why,
or was?
I can't give him that much credit, because Peyton Manning demanded a certain type of work ethic from you
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
beyond practice time when everybody else went back to, sleep. Peyton is like,
Mm-hmm.
my nigga, pull up, let's throw some more routes.
Yeah.
If you're not
Yeah.
with it, you're not with it. But if you with it, I'm gonna throw routes to you all fucking night, so that when
Mm-hmm.
game time comes, it's gonna look regular. I don't care who's covering you, you're open, because we done did this 1,000 times between Wednesday and Sunday. Not a thousand
So,
times this season. We did this 1,000 times this fucking week.
well, I want to put this out there, right? Like I said, I took my time with picking these players, right?
You sure
Um,
did.
I really did take my time. Marvin Harrison had 1,102 receptions, right? 1,102 receptions. Chris Carter, 1,101.
Hmm.
Marvin Harrison had 14,580 yards. Chris Carter had 13,899 yards. Marvin Harrison had 128 TDs, and Chris Carter had 130. So I think the comparison in far as numbers, yes, you can attribute that to Peyton Manning. Chris Carter was that kind of guy. I definitely agree with that. I like Chris Carter. He was more personality for me. Marvin Harrison just did what he had to do and was quiet.
Mm-hmm.
So for that personality, I just because of he was glaring, he's one of the first impressions I got in football. I would be taking Chris Carter, but their numbers are extremely similar.
Now look, right, when you say that makes me even want to point out even more
Mm-hmm.
that Marvin Harrison didn't play with anyone else but Peyton Manning. When
Mm-hmm.
Chris Carter played with niggas like Neil O'Donnell, the best quarterback that he played with was fucking Randall Cunningham.
Right.
And then a very young Dante Culpepper. When Culpepper got there, Chris Carter was at least a veteran, like 11 years in, 13 years in the game. When
Mm-hmm.
Culpepper got there, he was playing with bums.
And Randy Moss was on the team too, right?
But he was an
No,
old
not at first. He got
man.
drafted eventually. Yeah.
He was an old man when Randy got there. I know because I was watching him for a long time. He was
Yep.
an
Yep.
old man and a 6-time Pro Bowler already when Randy got there.
Mm.
Marvin Harrison only played with Peyton Manning. That's it.
With that being said, a lot of some of these players, did have one quarterback or one particular quarterback that they have to credit to their success. I'm gonna do one more, maybe two. Let's just see real quick. I want to make this even here, so I'm gonna go Jordy Nelson or Larry Fitzgerald.
Fitzgerald.
That's silly, D. That's not a good one. You've
That's
been
an
doing
easy
it
one.
all night. That one is not that one is not. That's easy, Larry Fitzgerald. Easily.
Okay,
Fitzgerald, hands down.
listen, it's subjective because I'm a fan. If you're a fan, it makes it easy, but the numbers don't say it. So that's what I'm saying to you. I could say all I don't want. The numbers say something different. I'm pairing them up not only because of numbers, but because the way they were effective in their prime is different. You got to remember, Larry Fitzgerald played with Anquan Boldin in his prime. In his prime, that's where he was to me the best, right?
Mm-hmm.
Jordy Nelson might have played with who? Greg Jennings. Who did Jordy Nelson play with? He played with
Yeah,
one of
but
them, or Donald Driver, one of them,
he
right?
played with Greg Jennings. He played with Randall Cobb. Um,
And
and
Donald
uh,
Driver. All three of them niggas you name, he played with.
and
He
So he
don't
played with
played
all
forget
of
with
them.
his.
Brett Favre. He played with Brett Favre and A-Rod too.
Yeah, I mean the QBs he played with were better than the QBs Fitzgerald played
Yeah,
with.
but I'm not. We're not taking. I know that's y'all making it about that, and I understand how that plays a factor.
To
But
set us up.
they're still there. Listen. You can't be the only example. And shout out to my co-host here. who made a clear example of this, right? When I mentioned Andre Johnson, and he said that was an easy decision. There's not very many quarterbacks, wide receivers that played with trash ass quarterbacks and still was a great receivers. We're not going to find a bunch of these guys, right?
Fair.
Most
Okay,
of them
fair,
had great
fair.
quarterbacks. Most of them had great quarterbacks. I don't care if it was Jerry Rice. I don't care if it's Randy Moss. I don't care if it's, there's certain people, they just have really good quarterbacks. That's bottom line. However, right? However, I put it together based on what I know what the abilities are, plus the numbers. Now, I could have paced him. I could have put Larry Fitzgerald with somebody else, but the numbers, it don't really match up. So what I will do is I'll bring up Reggie Wayne, right? I'll bring up Reggie Wayne, right? And I'll pair him with Keyshawn Johnson. What do y'all think? Who y'all got?
Oh man. Give me the ball. Give me the damn ball. Oh boy. You know what? Not to go off on a tangent, but it just sucks. With the Indianapolis guys, they're like the San Antonio Spurs. It's hard to give them credit because the system was just so good. But Keyshawn Johnson was a beast, bro.
And I think it's unfair that we're choosing based on some of these. The Green Bay receivers are getting the same treatment as the Indianapolis Colts receivers, and it's almost unfair, even though their numbers are crazy.
It is, because in all fairness, Reggie Wayne's career numbers, I would assume, are probably better than Keyshawn's. But when you think of Keyshawn's talent, Keyshawn's ability, his physicality, oh my God. And mind you, I got a special place in my heart for Keyshawn because, he was with the Jets and he was probably the best receiver we've had in a long time. But I got to give it to Reggie because although Keyshawn may have been the bigger, more physical, more talented, Reggie Wayne is Reggie Wayne. I can't. And if we got to be fair, if we have to be fair, it's got to be Reggie. Because you're right. We can't just keep diminishing guys because of the quarterbacks they played with. They still got to catch the ball. And they still got to run the routes.
Me, I'm going to go opposite. I'm sorry. I'm being fair.
I'm not mad at you.
I'm being fair, but at the same time, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna give Keyshawn Johnson that props and highlight him as one of the first receivers that changed the game as far as the physicality that it took to play receiver. Now, people want to give it to Randy Moss because he was 6'3" and he had like a 4.2, 4.3 blazing speed. But Keyshawn Johnson made a game even playable for dudes like Marquise Colston, who was a great receiver for the Saints, who was just a great Amani Toomer. Think about the greatest receiver the Giants ever had in Amani Toomer, who was he was just a route runner, and he was tall enough and big enough to body you out as a receiver. They didn't have the blazing speed like the Randy Mosses. Because when Randy Moss added that speed to that frame, and then it changed. Then that changed the receiver element, period. Reggie Wayne was and always going to be a great route runner that played with a great quarterback who, no matter what your defense was, their timing was just fucking impeccable.
Yo.
But Keyshawn Johnson was one of them first 6'3" niggas who was a possession nigga. And if you ain't tackle him, his 4.5 or 4.6 speed was good enough.
Ferg, I want to throw these numbers out to you real quick. 814 receptions for Keyshawn, 10,571 yards, and 64 TDs. Reggie Wayne, 721 receptions, 9,995 yards, 65 TDs. So
Mm-hmm.
actually, Keyshawn's numbers is better than Reggie Wayne with
Key,
one less TD.
Keyshawn's numbers are better,
And he
but
got a chip.
you
Let's
also
not act like he ain't
yes
got a
with
chip.
Tampa,
Let's
yes
not
with
act like he
Tampa,
ain't got a chip.
but you have to remember Keyshawn played on teams where it was just Keyshawn. Reggie splitting catches with guys like Harrison as well. And don't forget, they still
No,
had
no, no.
Edgerrin James
Dallas Clark.
running
Dallas Clark.
and
Dallas
Dallas.
Clark was that
That's
nigga.
my point.
Dallas
So
Clark was that nigga.
you got to understand, for Reggie Wayne to have that amount while still splitting TDs with the other guys, you got to give him credit. That's why it was a tough call for me, because even when Keyshawn, everywhere Keyshawn went, he was the number one option and almost the only option. So if you ain't throwing him the ball, you ain't really throwing it to nobody else. So it's kind of like one of those. Um, it's kind of like the Carmelo Anthony effect, where he can still get 30 and you lose, and it's unfair. It's unfair, but that's how I saw it. Where his overall talent, he was a better receiver from that point of view. Big body, like Brandon Marshall's another one. You know what I mean? Same type of dude. But unfortunately, because he didn't play with another guy on the opposite side, you could throw him the ball all you want all game. You can't win throwing it to just one guy all game. You got to have somebody else. And that's where Reggie probably, edged it out for me there. But overall talent, overall like physicality, yeah, Keyshawn got that hands down. Hands down. But
Well,
it's crazy
shout
that
out.
the are the way they
I'll
are.
pick. I'm gonna pick Keyshawn. I'll pick Keyshawn just because, um, personality wise, I think would have been good. I think Reggie Wayne was a better number one. Keyshawn would have been my two on the team. He wouldn't have been my one. He wouldn't have been my
Right.
number one. But so because of that, if I had to pick, Reggie Wayne would be my number one on the team. But if I'm just choosing who I want to, the type of guys I would want on the team, it'll be Keyshawn.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
with that being said, I'm gonna close out blind reaction. I want to give an honorable mention to two wide receivers that I could not find to pair with them, and it speaks to their greatness. And I wasn't going to the top five of the receivers. There's no Jerry Rice's, or you know we weren't gonna do that. I wasn't gonna do that because that was just that just wouldn't be fair. So Isaac Bruce and Torrey Holt, I could not find anybody to pair up with those two guys unless it was going to be going to the guys like a Jerry Rice and stuff, because their numbers
Yeah.
for whatever reason are off the chain. Um, the greatest show on turf. Those dudes' numbers is just out of this world, and I couldn't find nobody to pair them with unless I was going to pair them against each other.
You know,
so with
you're right.
so with that being said, we'll leave the show with the last topic, talking about the latest trade. Jrue Holiday going to the Boston Celtics as Ferg predicted.
Thank you
We
so
did
much.
we did we did not play keep away with him. So the, the Boston Celtics got their prize and now are clearly the number two in the league, behind the Milwaukee Bucks. Um, is there old wise Mr. Ferg? Is there another move to be made out here that you think is gonna go down any second, since you're predicting trades out here?
Listen, let me tell you something, yo. I called up Brad Stevens. I was like, yo, what you doing, bro? You gotta go get that guy. Nah, let me stop, man. That was a lucky guess. But um, here's the one thing. Here's what I've actually been reading. It looks like Malcolm Brogdon might still be on the move. I don't think they're holding on to him, so he might be on the move. Harden did not report to the media day, but apparently is reporting to the second day of training camp. So I guess he wanted to be a bitch and not answer the media questions on media day. So he's gonna show up to practice. So who honestly, I think that if Harden stays put, we're not going to see anything major, not until trade deadline, because I think teams are pretty much set right now, unless, like I said, they do move Brogdon. But then I'm trying to think, if you're you know if you're Portland and you're moving Brogdon, where are you moving him to? Um, like who's in the market for a guy like that right now? That's the only thing I could think of.
I'll answer
Um,
that for you. No. That's a handoff. My phone is at 3%. It's a handoff. Um, who wants Brogdon? Anybody that wanted Drew Holiday. Because
yeah.
Brogdon at this point right now is a poor man's Drew Holiday. He's
Hmm.
Drew Holiday without the defense. He's a veteran guard that can still score a lot of points and lead the team. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
But Drew Holiday is so advanced defensively that he's just better than Brogdon. But any team that was in the race for Drew Holiday can be in the race for Brogdon and not feel bad about it. It's just that Drew Holiday has been so much more healthier when
Hmm.
it comes to games played through his career than Brogdon. It's fucking
Hmm.
night and day. So you can't demand the same for the two players. You know what I'm saying?
You
And
think
as far
Miami
as
go
who you
for him?
want in the trade. But with that being said, I also like Brogdon staying in Portland because Portland has young guards. Like Scoot Henderson is a fucking rookie at the end of the day. No matter how talented he is, Brogdon is that type of nigga that he just showed you last season, winning the Six Man of the Year award, that I'm still valuable and I can score and be valuable on a championship winning team, my nigga. You a
Yeah.
fucking rookie trying to find your way. Listen to me, young boy. I done been through it all. I was you. I got hurt. I still made my money back on 2, 3 contracts, my nigga. Shut the fuck up and watch what I do in 20 minutes, my nigga. You may get 30 minutes, my nigga. But if the coach is smart and this ain't a rebuild and we trying to win some games, I'm gonna play 30 to 35 minutes at the 1 or 2. Right
Don't
here in
Come
forget.
Portland.
on.
Don't
Listen,
forget.
listen.
That's Chauncey Billups out there. You're not wrong.
Yep,
You're not
listen,
wrong.
it's very possible. I do think he'll be on the move. But real quick, 6K is on limited life support right now. Real quick, Thursday night game is going to be Chicago Bears versus the Washington Commanders. What's your predictions, fellas? Real quick.
Where they playing?
They're playing in Washington.
Commanders.
Commanders.
That's a sweep. I'll go Commanders as well.
You know what?
Um,
Bears. No. I'm going Bears. I'm going Bears. I'm going Bears.
Ooh.
I'm going
Okay.
Bears.
well, they're 0-4. They're bound to get a win. So maybe this is it.
I feel like the Broncos had to do too much.
I think we lost K.
Yeah, I think we lost them too. Well, we lost one of the co-hosts, but
That,
that
that,
was the. What's your pick? You win Washington, right, Ferg?
yeah, I went Washington. I think the phone cut out when he said Bears.
Yeah. it glitched on him because he tried to switch up.
Yeah. T-Bone was just like, fuck this nigga, man. This nigga.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, this has been another episode of Straight for the Block. I am your host, Deplano. I for my friend who's a co-host whose battery life depleted. That was Mr. Martin, aka the Ganja Man, and we have here Mr. Ferg. Holla at him on the way out.
Hey, once again, happy to be on with y'all. It's Haitian Ferg. Enjoy the week coming up. It's gonna be some nice games. NBA training camp is open. Preseason is here. We about to get into some. Oh, I forgot to mention one more thing. Tibbs finally clapped back at Fournier. I don't know if you've seen it.
Yeah, I saw it. I saw it. I know you was. I know you was. You was salivating. You was jumping up for joy. You loved every moment of it. You loved every moment of it. But like
I
he said, I wasn't trying to make it a Knicks
yeah
a Knicks episode, so I didn't even bring it up. Mind you,
yeah.
ladies and gentlemen, MLB postseason is on its way. It's
Mhm.
already in progress. AL and NL wild cards is currently in progress. We'll touch on that later on this week. to let you know what the results of that was. All right. Everyone have a good one. Until next time.
Peace.